On July 22nd, 1997, Eiichiro Oda first started publishing One Piece. It is a manga series that has become synonymous with manga. And it is one of the best-selling comic in the world. In October of 1999, only 2 years later, Toei Animation began producing the anime series. It became one of the biggest anime in the world and skyrocketed the popularity of One Piece just in ways that the manga hadn't done before, becoming a national symbol of sorts in Japan, but also becoming one of the big three for the West, along with Naruto and Bleach, signaling the start of anime as more than just a niche thing outside of Japan. And now, August 31st, 2023, we get a live action series on Netflix that is not only directly watched over by Eiichiro Oda, but a series that he had a very, very direct hand in the production of. He chose the actors who would play the Straw Hats. He was given the final go-ahead on everything. If things weren't up to Oda's standards, this series would not be released. They said this themselves. And Oda wanted to make sure everything lived up to those standards. And while not everything is going to be the same, and Oda Sensei has said this himself, while not everything is going to be the same, while there are going to have to be changes just due to the change in medium from animation to live action, or technically from comic to animation to live action, he believes, and from what we can tell from the early reviews, many believe, this series truly captures the essence of One Piece and may just be the best anime to live action adaptation we've ever had. So, without any further ado, I'm Connie. This is Princess of Gay, and we are starting today the One Piece live action Netflix series. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So like I said in the reaction, there were quite a few changes to this. And I went into this expecting that. I knew there were going to be some differences. Oda Sensei said so himself, that there would be definite differences to in comparison to the manga and the anime and everything. And that's okay. I'm completely fine with the changes as long as it continues to keep the spirit of the characters and the series alive. And I very much believe this did. This was so exciting and fun. Like, I was just so damn hyped the entire time. Like, just anytime I saw someone I recognized was just super exciting for me. Every time, like, a scene happened that it's like, oh yeah, I get what they're doing here. Or when they mention something that they don't actually mention at that point in the manga or anime, but makes sense based on what we see later. Like when Captain Morgan, when X-Hand Morgan mentions that he's the one who single-handedly took down the Black Cat Pirates and Kuro of the Thousand Plans. One, amazing that they referenced Kuro and the Black Cat Pirates right there, but also, like, we don't find that out until later on. Until the Syrup Village arc. So, and if you're not paying attention, you could miss that even. I've seen some reactors not even realize that was Morgan in the flashback during that scene, during that episode. I love the fact that that was mentioned here. I love the fact that Kabaji was in Shellstown. Because that's very different. That's very different. Because in the original anime, Nami does, she is there and she does sneak in and she does steal the map, but she finds out that the map was replaced by Buggy's crew. I thought that's what was going to happen here. Then that's how we find out that that happened. But instead, no, they just stole, they have the map. Kabaji was actually there to take it himself, but they ended up escaping with it in the safe and everything. Again, things are very different. Nami doesn't originally join at this point. She doesn't join until Orangetown. Like, she doesn't even meet Luffy until then. Like, truly meet him. She sees him prior to that, but she doesn't actually meet Luffy until Orangetown. So there's definitely some notable changes here. I think all the actors did a fantastic job. Every single one perfectly encapsulated their characters. McKenyu is amazing as Zoro. Emily Rudd, just perfect as Nami. Iñaki Godoy is just, he is Luffy. Just, it's like Oda himself said. It's like, that's Luffy. Even the others, like, though, like, Morgan was fantastic. Helmeppo, Kobe, the little bit we saw of Buggy there and Kabaji. Just everyone was so on point. Everyone was just, like, so perfectly cast. And again, knowing that Oda was directly approving of the cast, that in the case of at least the Straw Hats, that he was the one who directly chose them. It just makes sense. It just, he saw in them, like, these are the perfect people to play these characters. These people perfectly embody what these characters are all about. And it's just so good. It's just so damn good. And we see Garp and his what is his position compared to Garp? I can never remember. The guy in the hat. His associate, let's say that. I don't actually remember what his actual position is compared to Garp. But yeah, he's there, and they're going to Shellstown, so that's how he's going to recruit Helmeppo and Kobe. It's just like, things are different, but there's enough similarities to where it's like, you know what's happening, and you know where this stuff's going to go. And it's just, it's fantastic. And in this episode, like, in this hour's worth of content, pretty much, we touched on Alvida and Shellstown. Which, the Alvida stuff did feel pretty short, honestly. We touched on the flashbacks to Shanks and all. We didn't see all of it, though, so there's definitely going to be more coming. More than likely in this next episode. But, yeah. Because we didn't even see the Lord of the Coast yet. So, it is Lord of the Coast, right? Something like that. The Sea King. But yeah, it's like, just with all the content that was in here, nothing felt rushed. Again, the Alvida stuff felt like it went by quick, but it didn't feel rushed because that stuff, let's be honest, was never like a big deal. It sets up Alvida's return later on in the series normally, but it never needed to be that long. And so shortening it in the way that they did still felt like it worked. It didn't feel out of place or anything. It still worked. Now, there was also the change that normally in the anime and manga, Nami is there during that, because Alvida's crew attacks not just a passenger ship, but like a ship that is like hosting this like kind of fancy get together, some kind of ball or something, and they attack them. And Nami was on that ship waiting for pirates to attack them. She then, while the pirates were attacking, she went over to Alvida's ship to loot them and everything. So there are some notable differences in that Nami wasn't even introduced there. Nami, instead, we first see her when she's tricking the buggy pirates, which we do see, but later on. I think we actually see that after Shellstown in the in the manga and anime, and instead we see it before Shellstown this time. And then again, she connects with Luffy and Zoro at Shellstown instead of in Orangetown. So again, some notable differences. But nothing, again, that's bad. Nothing that doesn't work. It's just different. And I'm worried that there's going to be some people who complain about that. Who's like, oh, this isn't accurate to One Piece. And it's like, shut up. Shut up. You know that Oda was so directly involved in this that he had to sign off on these changes, right? Oda himself said that there were going to be changes, that was just an inevitability of the change of medium from manga / animation to live action. That was just necessary. So I'm worried that some people are going to complain about that, but again, the most important thing is that they keep the general basis of things correct, as well as, again, the feeling and nature of the story and characters. And again, I think they nailed that completely. The tone is perfect. The characters are so well acted. Literally every character. Even Rika, who has a much smaller role in this than she did in the manga and anime, with her rice balls and everything. A much, much smaller role than in the manga and anime. Even she she just felt right. Like, as small of a role as she had, she just felt like, yeah, this is Rika. I don't doubt that for a second. And that's really cool. And there's even some background stuff that you catch. Like, I mentioned there was that one pirate on Alvida's ship that I recognized instantly from his haircut and outfit. It was such a direct comparison taken from the manga and anime. It's amazing. It's awesome. I like the sets. I think the sets were extremely well done. Some of the changes to them actually, I think, look even better. Like Party's Bar in Windmill Village, in Fuchsia Village. I actually like the way it looks in this more than I do in the manga and anime. The island kind of feel to it, the outdoorsiness, how it's not like enclosed as much. Just the design of it looks so much more welcoming. You know what I mean? Not that it didn't look welcoming in the original, but still. The gum gum fruit looked great. Just everything looked so good. The action was fantastic. The comedy was great. It was everything. I'm just excited to see where this goes. I am just so goddamn excited. I really don't know if we're gonna get Loguetown here, though. That's the thing. That's the thing I'm most unsure of. If we get Loguetown, we know it's gonna be cut down a lot because the arc in the anime and everything had a lot more filler, and it's really not that long, all things considered. But I haven't heard anything about Smoker being in this. And if they do have Loguetown, how are they going to handle Alvida's return? There's a lot of questions. Because you would have to bring in Alvida and Buggy. They would both have to come back for that, which is doable. I'm just wondering how they're going to handle that with Alvida's changes. Um, they can cut out a lot of stuff, but they definitely have to have Luffy going to the execution platform and nearly being executed by Buggy. They have to have Smoker in there because he's integral to Logtown, and they would also have to have Dragon because that introduction is also integral to that specific point. But again, they might change things up a bit. I don't know. I'm excited either way. Like, again, I don't think there's going to be any changes that are going to like outright offend me or anything. Because the changes, at least based on this first episode, feel natural. They feel like changes that make sense for the medium. And they feel like changes that just work. Plus, the fact that Oda had to sign off on them helps with that fact. So I don't think there's gonna be any changes that are like really like bad. It's just gonna be a case of like thoughts on them compared to the original. And I am gonna definitely still make comparisons because I've seen the anime, especially the East Blue Saga. Like I've seen the East Blue Saga much more than any other part of the anime. Like, well over a dozen times all the way through. Like, I would say probably at least 20 times. I'm not even joking there. And I know what happens. So I'm going to be making a lot of comparisons, a lot of everything. So based on the pacing of this, I have not looked at the episode titles, by the way. I know those were revealed ahead of time. I didn't look at them, and I'm not looking at them now, except for this episode's called Romance Dawn. But I'm not looking at, like, the future ones. Because I don't want to know exactly how it's organized and everything. But my guess, based on the pacing of this one, episode 2 is probably going to be just Buggy. I would have to believe that. And continued flashbacks with Shanks and everything. Because I don't think they can... I don't know, unless they split up arcs, like how they normally are in the manga and anime. Because if they could possibly do Buggy and maybe the start of Syrup Village, but I don't think they can do all of both. Unless they really cut back on Orange Town. Which I hope they don't do. I'm already worried enough that they're going to cut Shoo Shoo. But there's a lot of good stuff in Orange Town that I want to see them, put in there. I want to see the fights with Moji and Kabaji. I want to see the part with Luffy in the cage and Nami betraying him and everything. There's so much I want to see. And again, if they change things, that's fine as long as it still works and feels right and everything. I'm just saying, like, I'm wondering how this is going to be paced and everything. If they do try to put at least some of Syrup Village in there, again, I don't think they can do both in just an hour long. That I feel could be rushed. So then they could maybe start Syrup Village, but then have to finish it in the episode after, which they could do. There's, I think, 8 episodes for this total. And if they're doing the entire Grand Line, obviously they're going to give a certain amount to Arlong Park. So let's see, if they do all of Buggy next episode, let's say that. Let's say episode 3 is Syrup Village. Let's say episode 4 then is Baratier. Then you could say episodes 5 and 6 are Arlong Park. And then 7 and 8 after that could be Logtown then. That I feel could work. I don't know how they're going to do it, but that could actually work out. Either way, like, I am all in on this. Um, if the early reviews are anything to go by, I am almost certain this will get a season 2, and you know that's going to introduce both, or not just both, but it's going to introduce Vivi, it's going to introduce Chopper, it's going to introduce Robin. Because, see, if we're doing all of East Blue here, season 2 will probably include Whiskey Peak, Little Garden, and Drum Island. They're not getting to Alabasta in season 2. That's just not possible. But if they do Whiskey Peak, Little Garden, and Drum Island, all of that could easily fit into season 2. Especially with the episode run they have. Trying to fit Alabasta in there too, I feel would be pushing it. They would have to really cut down on probably multiple arcs to do that. But I mean, who knows? We'll see. We probably wouldn't get that for a while anyway. So, all of that being said, though, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this first episode of One Piece live action? One Piece LA, One Piece Netflix, whatever you want to call it. Let me know your thoughts down below, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.